Lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
You know?
He should be in the corner on fight night, right?
Yeah.
Against Usyk.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there for the first one.
Yeah. Shit, yeah. A lot of shit weren't there for the first one. I wasn't there really for the first one, but I will be there this time.
Listen, you're going to be there this time. What would you think of the Coley-Lorena fight?
That's a good fight.
Yeah.
It's a good man.
Danny Dubois states that he wasn't even there for the first fight. You know, and as you guys just heard him say, so the question you ask yourself is, he made a comment like, "Hey, I'm in Usyk's head now, and Usyk has the big head, and I will be there this time." And me counterpunching this whole thing, the question you ask yourself is, where the hell was Danny Dubois? What was going on with Danny Dubois? Why he wasn't mentally there? Because, he just admitted it. Hell, I wasn't even there in the first fight. So you didn't know what was going on. Danny Dubois has mentioned that he was in a dark place. Remember that? And, you don't really know what the hell he's talking about. Like, what dark place are you referring to? You beat Trevor Bryant, you got the WBA regular, and between the WBA regular capturing it to the Usyk fight, well, no, then you had the Lorena fight, then you had the Usyk fight. I'm just baffled on what was going on with Danny Dubois. And I know everybody has their things or their issues in life or whatever, but I think to be likable, to be transparently likable in this sport, it's best to be open, transparent. People love a good story. If there is any truth to the shit, there should be nothing wrong with explaining it. You know what I mean? Like, the thing about AJ, I think AJ, and by comparison, people had already said what was going on with him. And we don't really know if they let the cat out of the bag, his team, secretly just to get the word out, so AJ wouldn't have to say it. But in Daniel's case, you don't know what was going on. All you keep hearing is, "Oh, I was in a dark place at that time." It's like, okay, what brought you to that dark place? Did somebody die? Did your mama die? Your daddy ain't dead. Did your brother die? Did your uncle die? Did somebody die? Did somebody, What happened with you that gave you the disadvantage mentally going into the first Usyk fight? You know what I mean? That's not even a hard question to answer. And I'm surprised that people keep hearing that shit and not answering it. And I just chop that up as, either they can't ask that question because they're already prompted not to before the interview, because that happens a lot, or they're just bad or poor interviewers. You know what I mean? Because those type of things like, "Oh, I wasn't mentally there, and I don't know what the hell was going on, and I was in a dark place." And it just puts you in the mindset of like, okay, well, how stable mentally are you if no one could ask you what was going on with you? You mentally wasn't there. What was it? What did it come from? Did it come from anxiety? Maybe you weren't maybe you weren't mentally prepared. Those things probably should be explained. Maybe he can't explain it. You know what I mean? And in those cases, if you do get in front of the camera and it's things that you can't explain, I think by the next interview, that's why a PR team is needed for someone like Danny Dubois that really can't, he has thoughts, but he can't necessarily put his thoughts into words. You know what I mean? So I think that's more of a issue with people. Hell, it happens to me. It happens to the best of us. Not saying anything's wrong with them, but if you're not really that astute to explain what's going on with you, I think you need to get someone that can help you do so before getting in front of these cameras. Now, people do respect rawness, you know, like how people explain things. And some of that, Daniel, like he explaining things, you can tell it's all him because he's stuttering, he's hesitant, he's him. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like a fucking speech. So, I mean, you don't really care for that either. But in times of just keeping it real, you know, you really want to know what's going on with Daniel so we can see what he was going through, so we can see what he overcame, to see the difference in the next fight. You know what I mean? Especially with somebody that he's fought before, like Alexander Usyk, that's kicked everybody's ass that he's ever been in the ring with professionally. You know, so, but him calling Alexander big head, let's talk about that for a minute. Well, I think Daniel still feels some type of way when Alexander Usyk came to him after that fight and he told him, like, hey, keep training, you're young, you know what I mean, don't give up. And Alexander Usyk explained, like, I didn't tell him that to disrespect him. I told him that to motivate him because he looked like he, you know, was in a bad place. Well, Daniel just admitted he was in a fucked up place, right? So if he already admitted that he was in a bad place, don't you see anybody or someone else could have saw that? Then I think that's what Alexander Usyk was trying to do. However, it don't matter. Why? Because Daniel took it a totally different way. He took it as disrespect. Since that was the case, he was like, who the hell does this motherfucker think he is, telling me something that I either already know, or you're trying to show me up, or you're trying to talk down on me like I was a boy. Well, first of all, if Daniel felt Alexander Usyk was trying to do that, that was already ingrained in Daniel Dubois. Okay? Even in that interview there with Dev, right? He was saying, hey, I'm not a boy, I'm a grown man. So he had to correct him. So that may be a complex with Daniel Dubois already. You know what I mean? Because he's already correcting people when he doesn't like to be referred to as a boy, right? So, you know, and then if he felt like someone was talking to him like a boy, he felt disrespected. But again, shout out to Tony Hudson, as a guy that used to be my boss over 20 years ago. And I said something to someone that they didn't like, and he overheard it, and he was like, Kurt, the hell are you doing? And I was like, well, I didn't mean anything by it. It's like, it doesn't matter how you meant it. It's how they took it. So that stayed with me over these years. And it made you understand someone else's perspective when you say something to someone, how doesn't matter how you took it, because what matters is how they're going to, you know, respond to how they felt you took it. You meant it, right? There you go. So I think that that Daniel Dubois, you know, him feeling, you know, Alexander Usyk disrespected him is actually a good thing. It's a good thing, basically, because he needs some type of edge. You know what I mean? He needs that angle. And that angle, if that angle is coming from anger, and that anger is spewing from the fact you were felt disrespected, good. Because if it makes you fight harder, good. If it makes you want to rough them up, good. If it makes you want to get more physical because you're bigger and stronger anyway, good. That's what we need from Daniel Dubois. If it's going to help him, let it be. But you guys tell me what you think of Daniel Dubois calling Alexander Usyk a big head. And he wasn't at himself. He wasn't mentally there in the first fight anyway. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.